get this show on the road. So, as you all know that the industry is changing immensely, I wrote this class specifically to help you all really do what you need to do to be not only surviving in this real estate shift, but thriving. Because there's really been never a better time for you guys to actually kind of double down on your worth and value to the consumer. So a couple things, and some of you have heard a lot of this from me before, but I'm going to quickly go through and just reiterate how important your database is. And I've renamed it as the data bank, because most of you would rather work by referral than actually have to go hunt down leads every day. And you know, that's an option you have, and yet most of us are more relational and referral based. So a couple things, database is now your new data bank. And the truth is, you know, I've been doing this month will be 24 years of being in the industry, and it's my 15th year as a team leader. And I'll tell you, back in the day, before there was Zillow and websites and all that, really real estate was belly to belly. You'd actually write an offer at, say, Tuesday at 8 o'clock at night, and you go present the offer in person. So much has changed in such a short while, and yet back then, we were more valuable to consumers than we are today, because we're in a Google it kind of world. You know, if someone wants to know the information, they're just going to Google it, versus going and asking, you know, a local expert. So with the advent of technology, really we became a little bit less relevant. And what really kind of shifted was the way we are in relationship with folks. So ironically, with things like Facebook, you're probably in more relationship with acquaintances than you ever have been, and yet probably not as tight with some people as you used to be. So there's good and bad in everything, and yet how do you get through all of this and thrive versus, you know, struggle and lose relationships? So really what we've seen with technology, websites, now artificial intelligence, we see our entire industry got a little bit lazy with the relationships that we had, because we had other things like Zillow and pay-per-click ads and things to lean on. So right now, there's never been a more critical time for me to wake everybody up and say, hey, it's time to get back in love with your database. So that's what this class is going to be all about. So if you are one of those agents that maybe have kind of drop the ball on keeping in touch with folks, it's not a problem. It's not too late to repair that, and you're not alone. Pretty much everyone I speak to in coaching kind of feels that way, and yet right now is a time where you need to make a change. So today you're going to make a change, and we're going to make that commitment together. So it's time to get back into relationship with your data bank through new advanced approaches that the consumer now expects. So your sense of urgency should be at a level like 10 plus to race back into relationship with these folks. And yet it's kind of awkward to re-engage people that you have not had any contact with in the last year, or even more so than that. So this is how we're going to do it. So think of it this way. Value will help you re-engage with the people in your database. Giving them value will give you that reconnect to re-engage. And then relationship over time is basically your security net, protecting your business from the new models that are out there like Open Door and OfferPad. So before I dive into this, I just want to show you two examples of how agents in our office are doing it and how they're staying in relationship with people. And these are both really great examples. So I'm just going to ask for a thumbs up from anyone that's out there. Can you see Jake Yancarelli's YouTube channel? Anyone see that? Get a thumbs up? Okay, Judy, thank you for raising your hand. So here's a great example. Now, Jake, if you know Jake, he moved here and didn't really know a lot of people. And so his first couple years in the business, he would be in the training room every day, prospecting, circle prospecting, calling expired listings, calling for sale by owners, because he didn't really have a database here. He didn't have a sphere of influence. He didn't have any other way of getting business than hunting it down. And now they've developed a great sphere of influence. So he's shifted quite a bit to be more relational. So I want to share with you what they're doing next. Now, my only concern is you may not be able to hear this. So if you can't, we'll be sharing the video link with you afterwards. But what they're doing for our client appreciation event is bringing people to Lion King, the new movie. So this is their reenactment of the first scene. And that's their adorable daughter, Annie, or adorable daughter. And then there's Annie. They got the whole family involved in making this video of the reenactment of The Lion King. And yet there is Jake dressed up for his part. And literally they go into this whole thing to invite people to their client appreciation party. And I'll send the link so you guys can watch it. It's hilarious. You know, and if you go back into Jake's videos, he just started doing this. This is not something that he's been doing for years. He literally just started, and he started with his hurricane preparedness message that he filmed at an Ace Hardware and had a lot of fun with. So again, just staying in touch with us people in a very comical way. Another fun thing that I just got yesterday was from Doug and Gwen Campbell. Again, they're highly relational, and they have an event coming up with ice cream. So I'll just kind of sneak into this video. Super cute. That's Doug promoting their event. And then they go into like a spoof with the two of them later in their video, and it's hilarious. So again, very highly relational. Very great to connect with people. You could send it really to everyone in your database without thinking about it, and yet they're going all in on relationships. So those are two great examples of what people are doing around you that's effective. So here's the thing. You have the opportunity to hunt for the rest of your life, or you can actually just grab the business that's in front of you. And I personally was never much of a hunter. I was more of a gatherer. So just real quickly, I want you to jot down on a pen and paper in front of you what size of your database you think it is, what size your databank is, and what it's worth right now. So if you had to guess what your local sphere of influence number would be, jot that number down. Is it 10 people? Is it 50 people? Is it 500 people? What is that number to you? Now after that, the next number I want you to put down is your affiliate vendor relationships, small business owner relationships, almost like your own personal BNI group. If you were able to come up with one of those, how many small business owners do you know? They don't need to be real estate related, they just have to be local small business. And maybe jot that number down. It might be 5 or 10 or even more. And for those of you that might be involved in Rotary or a BNI, that could be even 50 or 100 or even more. And then just real quickly, nationally and internationally, what would that sphere of influence look like? Do you really, are you close with 5 people that don't live in the US? Is it 10? Is it 50? Are you from somewhere else? Write that number down. And I want you just to bottom line it and add those numbers up. Now, if anyone wants to participate in the chat box, you can put your number. If you'd rather not, that's no big deal. Now, whatever number that is, what's 10%? That's your number. That's how many transactions every year are sitting in your database waiting for you to find. And the reality is most of us don't treat our database properly to find those opportunities. They either walk away and go work with another realtor because you didn't stay in relationship, or they didn't even know if you're in real estate any longer. And those are the things that happen because very few of us actually get a 10% return. And yet if you follow the models that we give you, it pretty much is dead on a 10% return. And so many of you have a decent sized data bank, and you don't really need to collect people because you already have enough. You may need to communicate more effectively with them. And some of you will have a smaller database or data bank, which isn't quite big enough to sustain you. You know, when Mark and I moved to Florida, we didn't have a ton of friends. Some of the first friends we made were like, Judy, you're a realtor, you're not helping us out, are you? You know, you're gonna get your own business. So we had to diversify our friendship circle to be beyond the office and beyond our realtor friends, and that took time. And so what I want you to ask yourself is, where are you at with the size of your database compared to how many transactions you wanna make? Now, real simply, if you wanna be a capper, meaning that you sell about 3 million in volume, that's a capper plus, meaning you're gonna cap and then make extra closings at 100%. If you do 3 million in volume, assuming a $200,000 sale, you're gonna need 15 closings a year. Well, that means your local data bank of people that like and trust you needs to be 150 people in order for that to be super easy and simple every year. So that's the calculations along it. What I would ask you is, where are you at now, and then what is your gap? So if you look here, here are a list of different ways that you could add to your data bank. And my question, if I was coaching you right now one-on-one, if your data bank is too small, what are you going to do? From lead generation, you could prospect, you could market, you could use technology, you could be better friends and get more reacquainted with people that you kind of blow off. I call it friending, when all of a sudden you say yes to everything because you need to reconnect with people. You know, who is your spouse or your significant other? What does their data bank look like? Because if you're spending time with someone that you can really kind of get into their world. What are your hobbies? What community involvement are you interacting with? What house of worship do you participate in? Maybe you need to get more involved in that. Don't just show up, you know, become a leader within. What philanthropies are you passionate about that you'd like to champion? Because it's really neat. You can get involved in things that you're passionate about, and literally that is you doing your lead gen. And then what kind of niches may you have? You know, I know Judy's on this. She might have a niche of waterfront property in Gulf Harbor. Scott Hood, you've got Dunedin, and now you've got Safety Harbor. You've got your crew in both areas. Your church as well. You know, and then there's things like meetups. For those of you that are really highly social that maybe don't have any of those things put in place, you can start doing some meetups and meet a lot of people. So there's so many ways to do it. So there's really no excuse why you can't. It's really just kind of putting a plan and being intentional around it. Most of us could always be growing our database, and some of you already have one that's so big that you're pretty set as long as you take care of it. So my challenge to you would be, where are you at now? What's your gap? And then what do you want to do with the gap? You know, what activities on the screen kind of excite you? If you had to pick one, maybe two, what would that be specifically? And if you're really, really anemic kind of in this area with a really small data bank, I would say you need to be adding at least 20 people per week to get momentum, or you could get yourself into some trouble. So just keep that in mind. So I just got back from the Galapagos Islands, and I was surrounded by Charles Darwin everywhere. It's kind of creepy, actually. But this quote really sent me, and it made me think a lot about our industry today. So, you know, there's so much change going on in real estate today. And I've got to be honest with you, in the 24 years I've been in real estate, I've seen more change in the last 24 weeks with Redfin and Remax partnering and them breaking up, and Opendoor and OfferPad coming in, and Zillow now pivoting in certain markets as, you know, an employee-based company. There's so much change going on. And yet, this is a great reminder. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that's most adaptable to change. And that is really true in all industries right now. Because with the fourth industrial revolution, we brought in artificial intelligence and big data. And that really has affected all industries. Just think of any industry right now, you guys, from the way you shop, the way you go to the doctor and WebMD now, and you know, you can basically take a mobile app and show a spot on your arm and they can tell you if you need to come in or not. I mean, it's so different. Taxi services and Uber and all that, everything has really changed. And it's really every industry is getting impacted by it. So you really could think of really just about any industry and really pull it together and see specifically how artificial intelligence and big data has changed it. Well, real estate, we're right now being shooken up like this, like a snow globe almost, of change. And it's going to be interesting to see what companies thrive, which companies kind of just disappear, and which companies barely survive or don't survive at all. So you're going to see some different changes. NAR has some pretty intense predictions of how many realtors will leave the industry. And when I hear that, I don't get nervous at all. I give you guys a thumbs up because we're full-time realtors. And as you know, there's many, many brokerages that really attract that 2-deal-a-year agent because of their fee structure or how they, you know, kind of their expectations. So the number of real estate transactions is not diminishing, but the number of realtors going for the same deals are. And that's where you guys are really going to win, especially if you follow the advice I share with you today. So I'm excited. You should be excited as long as you're willing to adapt. And the cool thing is Keller Williams and Gary Keller have prepared us to do that. Obviously, this has not been an overnight experience. You guys have had to be patient, and yet Command is now open for business. We started with Kelly. Many of you have played around with Kelly. Kelly's working at a high level now, and Command is as well too. So we're going to dive into that. here's what today's consumer demands. So if you really needed to articulate the change of our industry, here are some of the major bullet points. This is by no means the complete list, but if I was to explain to you what you need to know how to do now or change or be able to do, you need to provide what's called Search 2.0. So when I say that, I'm not just talking about your Keller Williams website and being able to click on it and look at properties. I'm talking about the new search. So if you look at Redfin, Zillow, and Keller Williams, we're really the only three prepared for Search 2.0 right now. So what is Search 2.0? In plain English, Search 2.0 is a voyeuristic search, they call it. So what that means is for you as the realtor, if I'm the consumer, you can now give me access where I can search real estate without any boundaries, without any limitations of access to information, without me having to log in or provide any information. And I'm able to do that at will in a convenient way that I like and desire. Getting information to the type of information I want. And you, on the flip side, are being made aware of what I'm up to. So it's a win-win. I get what I want, because if you don't give me what I want, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to unclick and go somewhere that will, which is Redfin and Zillow. And meanwhile, while I'm clicking on things, saving favorite properties, or interacting with any of the tools that you have, you are informed so that you can, be brought up to speed. So Search 2.0 is a win-win in a sense, because it gives the consumer what they demand, and yet it gives you what you wish. Now, if we go back to the IDX search that you guys have had for years, that was a huge advancement in real estate, and you guys really had a tool that others didn't, and yet it wasn't that great because you didn't know if someone was on or if they were saving their favorite properties. And often you'd meet someone, you'd share your resources and tools, and you kind of wait and wonder to see if they called you back or responded to any of your efforts. And rarely did they, because it wasn't convenient or at the time that they wanted it. So now you're able to provide this to me, the consumer, and as soon as I start interacting with it, you're going to be educated and informed. So let's just say you met me 2 weeks ago, and I was all hot to trot about a property I called on your listing, and I had a ton of interest, and I seemed really excited, and you sent me your link to your website or mobile app or whatever you shared, and then I ghosted you like crickets, no response to an email, no response to a call, no response to a text. That was a very common circumstance that you guys would find yourself in. And frankly, I just went on vacation. So you wouldn't have known that I wasn't interested. You probably would have assumed I moved on or found another realtor. And the truth be told is we don't know what people's timelines or life is like. And often we kind of fill in the blanks with our own story. So a voyeuristic search is a win-win because it gives the consumer the value, the customizable experience that they desire from one single app. And they have 24 access and control, and they can do whatever they want when they want. And on the flip side, you're giving them relevant things for a relationship build. You can set it and forget it, and you can kind of monitor me and see what I'm up to through the back office. And it's like the easy button for your business. So it's a win-win-win. Now, Kelle and Command. Most of you know how to do all this. Some of you don't. If you haven't yet, you're going to want to download your Kelle app. It's the teal one. If you just search Kelle, K-E-L-L-E, in your Google Store or iTunes, it'll pop right up. Now, this does so much more than it did a month ago. And what's neat about it, because it works through the phone's GPS, wherever you're at, wherever you're standing, it gives you snaps or market snapshots of the specific neighborhoods. Now, because we're on Curlew and 19, I'm in the office right now, there's 4 major neighborhoods, so it's giving me a choice like which one did you mean, and you can literally click on this and share this information in real time. So let's just imagine I met you at an open house and I did that. I can literally hit the share button, send this information to you, and now I've got you in my Command world. So sending snaps is an easy thing to do, and yet you can also send snaps about specific neighborhoods by just saying, Kelle, send me a snap for Gulf Harbor's neighborhood, and the snap will come up and you can share it. So when you look at how you could use this to interact with people, Kelle and Command, I want to give you some specifics. So let's just talk about your database for a second, because not all of you have all the information in your database. In fact, for me, I have a lot of missing emails. I have almost all missing home addresses. I've got some email and then just phone number. I'm sure your database probably looks something like mine. So here's some notes I want you to write down of what you might do depending on what information you have. So for someone that you only are a Facebook friend with, you can Facebook message them a unique web URL, which I'll show you in a few minutes how to do, with a couple of key neighborhoods that are popular, just selected. And in that message, you could ask them about what neighborhoods they would like to track. And what you'll want to remind them is that they can do this nationally, not just locally. And I'll show you how to do this in just a few minutes once we get through this slide. So they might want to track where they have other property. They may have property in other states or other neighborhoods. They may have an investment property. They may wish to buy in the near future in a particular neighborhood. Say they want a waterfront condo once they downsize, or they may want to track where their family lives. So like, for example, my mom's way up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I may want to track her values of her neighborhood if I ever needed to help with her property sale. And then, obviously we all love to dream search. So what you can do if you don't have anyone's home address is you could just pick a couple really hot, fun neighborhoods that are real popular in our area and just share that link with them and ask them what other neighborhoods they'd like to add. Now by doing that, let's just say Scott Hood is my candidate and I only have him through Facebook. I can send him that specific URL that I built him, and if he clicks on it or interacts, he also can add his own. So there's a lot of neat features to it, yet it's about getting people engaged with you again. So when you only have Facebook, it's a little bit more challenging. I wouldn't post directly on their wall because that's a little bit intrusive, but if you sent them a Facebook private message, if they respond, great. Consider that permission to market to them moving forward. If they don't respond, get over it. Oh well, next, maybe they're not that great of a Facebook friend. So with me, I probably have half my Facebook friends are people I really don't know. I don't really know them at all. And yet half are true friends. So just remember that's like kind of a volume game and not to get too caught up on that. Now let's just say you have email only. Email's tough because email is really not read very often. It's really kind of old school approach. But you can email a unique URL website based off of the same example I just gave you to see if you can get people to engage. Know though that 8% of emails are actually read, and if you aren't getting people to respond to your email, it's not a surprise, because just think of your own inbox. How many emails don't you get to? I probably only get to about 50% of my email every day, and I probably get 800 email every day. And so my first thing I do is get rid of as much garbage as possible and then just respond to the things I know that are critical, and the things in the middle often never get read. So you have to remember that really about 8% of emails are read. So what if you only had their phone number? Now you can either call or text them, depending on which you're more willing to do. Call them and say you want to send them an invite, and that way you can get their home address and their email address. You can also text that same message if you didn't have enough relationship going with them and you felt awkward calling. And again, if they respond, wonderful, consider that permission to market. If they don't respond, get over it. Home address is really the goal when we get into the command, and I'll just jump out of here and into command. Can I get a thumbs up if you guys can see my command? Do we see command? Okay, thanks, Jason. Thank you. The command, this is command right here. So if I go in and just go under contacts, now this is funny. And Judy, you're on this, so this is even funnier. So last night I was preparing for this class. And so I went on to my command. And of course I have myself set up because I use myself as an example a lot when I'm meeting with people. And so if I click on myself, my neighborhood, of course, is Gulf Harbors, which I love. And because of artificial intelligence, Kelly knows our artificial intelligence based on my physical address of Pelican Drive that I live in Gulf Harbors. So now when you put a contact in, as long as they have a physical address, Kelly knows what their neighborhood is and automatically selects it for you. So it's one less step to do. So the funny thing is I have been dream shopping for a different house for a while now, and I just went to my own Snap for myself, and I found a property that I'm going to go look at tonight because I think it's perfect for me. So just know this stuff really works, and it worked on me this last night. So, and I didn't even know that property hit the market because I wasn't paying attention. So, so the cool thing is automatically artificial intelligence is going to set up this neighborhood market snapshot. So it's one less thing for you to do. Yet when you go to it, just so you can kind of see what the consumer experience is, first of all, if you have it set up, they can get it monthly or bi-weekly sent to them. And here is my own unique website built just in time for me. So if I click on it, here is the latest and greatest of what's going on in Gulf Harbors. And there's the house I want to go look at. So it'll be great for all of our boats if it works out. Here are the latest listings. And then right over here, you see neighborhood snaps or neighborhood stats. Here's really what's going on in the hood, all the deep data, all the detail. So to a consumer, they're loving this because they were happy with Zestimates, which was garbage information. This is actually real-time information. So by getting their physical home address and putting it into the contact, you're able to give them this level of database touch every month, which is actually beneficial. They actually find value in it. And I'm a great example because I love it. And I saw a house I want to go see tonight. So it's pretty exciting. So the goal is getting the home address so that you can actually give them things that they want, not just spamming them with stuff that they don't. And really everyone is curious about where they live, even if they're a renter. So sometimes I hear agents say, well, I don't know if they even own yet. Who cares? Let them know what's going on in their neighborhood. And then what you want to be asking is, where else are you curious? Now, when they go in, you'll see here in the top left corner, it says add neighborhood. Anyone can add a neighborhood on their own as well. So like I said, my mom lives way up in the middle of the Northwoods in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. There is no name to her subdivision. That's how rural it is. So if I go here, you can see the main kind of areas of Rhinelander, and she's more by the Hodag Park. So I'm going to add that now. And by just doing that as the consumer, I now will get that information moving forward as well. So the consumer can also control what they're getting as much as you can get information that's interesting to them out. Now, while someone's on this and they start clicking and looking at things, what's really cool is under their contact, it tracks everything that they've been up to. So you, again, as the agent, benefit from this voyeuristic search because it goes both ways. Not only can they get what they want, but you get what you want, which is to know if they're active, if they're even utilizing any of the stuff that you're sending them, if they're even reading it, much less are they looking every day, and if they're looking, what are they up to? So I just added that neighborhood to mine, so it'll show that. And then if you load it more yesterday, you can tell I've been on this quite a few times today. You would see that I hearted a couple favorite properties and all of that. You can get all that information right here. So one of the new habits is not only getting your people in here with their home address if you can capture it, but by just going on to last visited, by clicking on this, you can see who's been utilizing the tools that you're sending. So just imagine, let's just say you had a database of 150 people and you just turn this on, set it, forget it, not have to click on anything ever again. Now, every day you work real estate, you just click last visited and you'll get a major hint by the people that are actually utilizing and maybe starting to get serious again or active again. And that's a really great tool. So it is all about home address so that you can really be beneficial. Now, one step further, who do you know that's a small business owner? So think of your database for a second. Who do you know that maybe owns a car wash business or a restaurant or a handyman or a pet sitter? We all know great people that are small business owners. So the other thing you can do is you can go into their contact and put a secondary address for their business. Up here, you can put their home address, and then you can also add their business address. And you could go as far as to actually add a local insight. So let's just say I am a pet sitter and I'm really on top of things and you really trust me and like me. You can add and pin both my business address and my home address so that I'm getting market data in both markets. Because who's to say I don't rent my space now for business and maybe want to buy in the near future? And by putting a local insight and promoting my business wherever I live, say I have a business right here, you can create a local insight, add the details, and I'm going to show up on other people's searches like Google in the future. And you can give a promo to why I'm great to be in business with, etc. So can you imagine if I was in your database and I get this monthly update from you consistently? I don't click on it every month, but I click on it when it's important to me. And anytime I wanted to click on it and find out what's going on in my neighborhood, I could. And I see my business pop up. What do you think that does for me? That makes me very loyal to you, doesn't it? So just one more step, you can take it. So regardless if you only have Facebook information or just email or just text or cell phone, you know, doesn't matter. The goal, though, is to build this database to a point where you get those other addresses. So I hope you guys felt good about that. If you have any questions on that, you know, reach out. So Kelle Snaps is obviously one thing you can do. The other thing that's really cool is in your database, just by clicking on the main screen, you can see like the last couple people that you've been interacting with. And you can also search anybody you want in here, and their contact information comes up. And you can even speak to Kelle and say, find, you know, whoever. I'm just going to find anybody. I'm going to find Ashley Dennis. I don't even know who Ashley Dennis is. So we're going to log an interaction. And let's just say I just got a call from Ashley Dennis, or I just saw her at the grocery store and she, you know, says we got to catch up. From here, I can leave a note. Remind me to call Ashley Dennis when she gets back from her vacation on August 5th. And I can save this, and it's going right into Command right now. It's being transcribed, and a reminder is being set on my calendar. Isn't that cool? So this tool, Kelle, not only can give you snaps, but also is like your little executive assistant that's trained to help you set reminders, add notes, add people. I'm not patient enough yet to add a person because I think it's faster to type them in, but you can verbally add a contact, and you can make notes during a transaction. So say I'm driving in my car like usual, like most of you are, you're not in front of a computer all day, and you have a seller call you, and they want to take the property off the market from showings this weekend because of X, whatever. They had a pipe break, or they have a family party, or they're not well. You can do all that from there, and it'll document and notate everything. So just think of how many different ways you're going to use Kelle alone. Not only is your database really at your fingertips, but really running that business and keeping track of everything is right here. Now, unique websites. I just kind of showed this, but I'm going to show it in slow-mo. So we're going to go back to our command here, go back to any one of our contacts. I'll pick on me again. And let's just say you added what you knew about me in here, and then after talking with me, you realized that I also was curious about rental properties, and I had my eye set on a particular area. Right here, you can actually add additional neighborhoods. So let's just say I was really interested in Holiday, Florida. Right from here, you could have just added Holiday, Florida, that simply. So not only can the consumer on their end add whatever they may want to add, you on your end can as well. And just as easily, you can also delete things like, say I didn't really want Holiday, or I didn't want the Rhinelander properties any longer. I can delete it right here. So the consumer controls it and you control it, and yet it's really that simple to do it. Now, how do you deliver this? That's the big question I'm getting. So let me go back into here. So when you're in here, you can simply go over to Smart Plans and add a smart plan. So your choices currently are to either bi-weekly or monthly update me with the plan, okay? Which is kind of the snapshot. So I'm just gonna add monthly. I'm currently bi-weekly. We'll add monthly. In addition to that, you can also have a gentle reminder to do a quarterly call. So right now, if you look at this contact, I have monthly neighborhood nurture, which means that monthly updates pushed out to them in an email. and then a quarterly call plan. In the very near future, the new app that's coming out, the consumer app, will push a notification through that as well, because we know that apps are much more read or clicked on than an email. So you can either choose to do email or both, or just the app, and that'll be coming soon. So the delivery method is whichever way you prefer, and but we know that apps are clicked on a lot much more than emails that get often lost or spammed out. So from here, I already have the plan set. So just think how simple this is. Talk about easy button, set it and forget it. You add a contact to the database. You add their home address. Kelle automatically connects them to the neighborhood they're in, and you turn on the smart plan and let it go. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. And the consumer, as they're using it, will pop up on your radar because it'll show last used. And when they've used it, you're going to be able to see specifically even what they did. If they clicked on a property, if they just looked at the link, if they saved a favorite property, if anything. So it's really kind of quite the easy button. Now, in this, if you look where the neighborhood market snapshots are, I have Gulf Harbors and Gulf Harbor Woodlands as the two neighborhoods I have that I'm stalking. You can copy that link and paste and go and see it's this long URL. You could redirect that. So if you had a really cool website like Gulf Harbor Homes, you could hypothetically click on all the little sub neighborhoods that might be considered Gulf Harbors and change this long URL to a vanity URL that you purchased as a individual website. So for those of you that have geofarms or niche URLs, there's a lot of fun things you could do. You could do all waterfront, you could do different specific neighborhoods or school districts. Any URL you have, you can redirect to cover this up, and literally the consumer will get whatever they want. So the days of websites are kind of gone. I have agents ask me, what website I recommend. I'm like, none, because we're getting to the point of actual customizable, individualized websites for everyone in your database, and that's going to become the new norm. So think of the consumer. In the past, we used to send them spammy newsletters and things that none of us even wanted to read, and hoped that was enough to stay in touch. Now you can actually be valuable and give true information of what they like. Beyond that, the smart plan is really the set it and forget it. So I would say get your database in, get to add as many addresses as possible. If you don't have a physical address, pick up a couple of fun neighborhoods that everyone's curious about, like Clearwater Beach or St. Pete or any neighborhood that you're fond of, and just have a few in there just so they can experience it. And then you want to add that question of what are your neighborhoods? And you want to remind them that, again, it's national that they can go, not just local. And ask them and interact with them, and either they can add those or you can add them for you. It's really, the smart plan is kind of like the polite way of stalking them, giving them what they want again while you get what you want. And I call it smart stalking. Last but not least, again, the idea with the small business owner. I think it's a smart idea because our relationships really matter, and there's so many people that want to support local business. You all in your Rolodex can think of people that are small business owners that you can create that insight for. Now, how are you going to learn how to do this? The best thing you can do is go to the classes that we have every week, Monday and Wednesday. I will give you the precise time so I don't give the wrong time. Mondays, Kevin is talking more of the basics with the contacts and what I showed you. That's the basics on Mondays, and that is from 2 to 4 every Monday, upstairs in the training room. Bring your laptop, and when you get stuck or have a question, just raise your hand and we get over to you and make sure that you get unstuck. That would be step one of getting the database in and things connected so that it's syncing. And what I love now is when I add someone to my phone, they're automatically in my database. That is priceless. And I just can't remember the days where I actually entered things in manually. Wednesdays, if you look at the calendar, Kevin actually has decided what he's going to tackle. So, and those are Wednesdays from noon to 2 p.m. And he has them on almost every Wednesday. like the 17th, he's going to go through the pipeline where you can put all your leads and where you can start writing offers and tracking your business. And then the next week he does Lead Accelerator, which are like Facebook ads, pay-per-click ads, like 5 clicks to a Facebook ad, 5 clicks to a postcard out the door. And then Sketch House, which is the marketing platform, which is a lot like Canva. And I love Canva, so I really like that a lot. So Mondays and Wednesdays, Mondays again are 2 to 4, and Wednesdays are noon to 2. Now, if you need extra help, because you're struggling, you need to just ask for help, because we're here for you. You can come right into the lab and sit down with your laptop, and we can give you some one-on-one attention, because we don't want anyone to get stuck, and yet we really need you to get started with this, because this is your fortress that you're going to be building around your database. The newest addition to your program is the Sketch House area. And I'll just quickly drive around it a little. It's awesome. Basically, when you go in here, you can go right down to Sketch House. And I was playing around with it yesterday, so you saw all of our Facebook banners changed, mine changed. I was having a little too much fun. But really, you can decide what it is that you want. Say you wanted to post social media. You can hit the add button and just pick what it is that you want, social media. And there's a template, tons of choices in here, depending on what it is that you want to do. Is it Twitter? Is it Facebook? Is it Pinterest? Because each one of those social media outlets have different formatting that they need. So if you look here at the top, it depends on what you're going to do. Let's just say you wanted to post on Facebook, and you wanted to talk about a for sale property on Facebook. Here are tons of options that just immediately pop up. And it's way more easier than some of the tools we've used in the past, like Michael Lewis or Scott Leroy. And one thing I'm pushing for is to bring an in-house person that could be a la carte for all of you, an a la carte admin, to do these things right on your program for you, so that if you don't know how to use it yet, you can maybe get some base templates built and use it even easier in the future. So let's just say you sold a property in record time and you wanted everybody in the world to know about it. You know, they've got all these fun different templates to use, and literally it's click, 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 and it downloads it and you're good to go. So wasn't real hard to use. And to change anything, you just double click on it and just type in, you know, what you want in response to that. You can add your own images if you want. It's really quite simple. And when you've got it to a point that you like, you just hit save and download, and then you can just post as a JPEG. So know that we have more specific classes on Wednesdays and more of the basics to get you started on Mondays. So when we go back to this, know that there's over 400 templates already, and they're adding tons of them a day. Like yesterday, they had like 10 more that I'd never seen. So I feel like they're adding them every day for you. So really every marketing element of your business, from a pre-listing packet to a just sold, to a coming soon, to a flyer, to a Pinterest, to an Instagram, whatever it is that you're thinking of doing, postcard, a letter to a neighborhood, it's pretty much already done for you. So no thinking needed. And since I have your attention, I just want to just let you guys know a few big things coming up. For those of you that have interest in coming to Austin with me and a couple other agents from our office, we've got about 30 from our office going. Mega Camp is August 13th through 15th. It's going to be with about 20,000 of the top agents and leadership in the world. And Gary Keller is really going to be going over an extreme overview of really what's all happening in our industry, what we can expect from Zillow, you know, some of the pivots these companies are making. And then there's breakout sessions with different topics that they cover with top people in the market, whatever their topic is. It could be how to build a team, or how to get off Zillow and back into business with your database. It could be whatever topics you want to talk about. And then they also have masterminds tied to that. So if you want any more information, reach out to me direct. Like I said, we have somewhere between 20 and 30 of our own agents going from our office. It's an amazing time, but it's a great way to replug into the business and recharge your batteries. For those of you that are building a team, wanting to build a team, or are struggling to build a team, we have a free webinar that you can jump on July 11th with Ben Kinney, who's the #3 team in the world, and he's one of the nicest guys. You just go to KW Connect resources and click on Connect Live July 11th, which is Thursday at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, and you can actually get that inspiration from him. And he is truly a legend, and yet very low key and laid back, and he's been very successful with that approach. So anyone needing inspiration, I recommend that. And Thursday, same day, I'm going to cover in the team meeting the latest you need to know about Zillow, Open Door OfferPad, and the extreme discounts, extreme discounters around you, but also kind of how to detox off of Zillow, how to get off of Zillow if you've been buying leads and all that, because those days are numbered. Those leads aren't going to be available much longer. So I put together a really, really detailed overview of what else is going on, what's the latest going on, and then we've got some fun ideas for you to be able to thrive during this and compete at a high level. Now I'm going to be giving you a clue. A lot of it's this, you guys. It's you've got to get back into business with your people, back into relationship. And what I would say is just imagine just getting your arms around your people again. You don't need a ton of them, but you need a couple solid folks in your database in order to have your business thrive during all of this. And when you start educating those folks about Open Door, OfferPad, and Zillow and kind of what's going on and how much more they're actually paying, the smoke and mirrors kind of dissipates and the truth comes out. So one of the things you'll see that I'm building in the marketing platform is those touches that you'll be able to just copy and paste and actually use the verbiage I provide for you just to educate your people so that you're not spending a lot of time researching and creating that collateral. If you don't communicate to your database now, what are the chances they're not going to get a little curious about all the advertisements they're seeing with Open Door and OfferPad and maybe just kind of wander off on you, not knowing what they're leaving on the table? So here's something I'm going to challenge you all with. In the month of July, anybody that you're willing to call, anyone in your database that you're in relationship enough to call, I would say, I would challenge you to call every one of them and offer to update them on their home's value. And while you're talking to them, fill in the blanks on your database of whatever you want to have, like their birthdays or emails or physical street address, and get that information, because here's what we're seeing. And this happened in Phoenix, and this is a little bit of what I'm going to share on Thursday. In Phoenix, the market tanked so hard, just like it did here. When the market crashed, we crashed hard, did we not? We were at the bottom. You know, you look at all the lists of all the metro areas that got hit the hardest. Phoenix is up there, as is the Tampa Bay area. Well, why do you think the iBuy model is working in Phoenix and Tampa? Well, because it's not happening everywhere. It's only happening if you really look at where they're popping up. They're popping up where the market's crashed the most. And if you think about it, a lot of people don't, you know, they've been underwater for so many years. They don't really know where they're at. And the market has been pretty awesome recently. So what they saw in Phoenix is they used the average price point of $240,000. In a $240,000 house, the market had gone up so much that the typical consumer wasn't quite aware of how much their home was worth. And they're going to Open Door and on average losing $60,000 of equity. $60,000 on a $240,000 house. Those people didn't realize what their home was worth. And after how many tough years in a row of just maintaining and sustaining a house that they thought they were underwater in, just accepted that to be the truth. Now, shame on whoever their realtor was, because if their realtor would have stayed in touch and kept updating them as their values progressed and as they got out of underwater, they would have been surprised that they could have net approximately $60,000 more working with a realtor. So that's really extreme example, but that's the reality of these different iBuy models. On average, if you bottom line it for our market, the average consumer is going to lose 6.7% of their equity. 6.7 is the math for our market of what's happened. And it's probably because they didn't realize their home was worth that much, because most people would rather keep that 6.75 than have the easy button sale. Now, some of those folks may have chosen the easy button sale for 6.75, yet most people wouldn't. So it's your job to reconnect with your database. And I think something smart to do mid-year is, hey, it's a mid-year review. Not sure what your plans are with your home this year, if you're going to do any upgrades, refis, anything. but I would be more than happy to give you an update of what your home would sell for today. And that would be a strong recommendation, along with that's a time that you can recapture any data that you wanted that you didn't have, be it birthdays or home address. Last but not least, I am going to be doing one more Zoom call like this month. And the rest, the next call is not your local database, but I want to think globally. So I want you to focus on this call with the people in our area that you could help list and sell and buy and flip and flop and everything else in between. But yet think of your Facebook friends. So if we actually redid the exercise of how many people do you know locally, if you just went to Facebook and looked at how many Facebook friends you have, that's really how broad you could go. And what's interesting is we would never say that in the past. 2 years ago, I would not be telling you to bother with the people you knew in other states as much, with the exception of maybe you'll get a few referral opportunities if you're lucky. But now with this being able to go anywhere in the world, any neighborhood in the world, down to micro detail, that's changed. So I'm going to focus the next Zoom, which will be on Tuesday, July 30th, same time, same place, same link. And I'll record it as well in case you can't make it. But I'm going to give you some ideas on how to interact with those folks, because our databases may be 100 or 150 or 200 local. But when you look at Facebook friends internationally, I know I hit my limit of 5,000. So I'm not going to expect a 10% return on all of that, but why wouldn't I at least market to all of it to get any wins that I could? And that's really going to be an opportunity for you guys. And last but not least, feedback is the breakfast of champions. So if there's something we could be doing for you that you need, or if you like Zooms or you don't like Zooms, or you have any feedback for me, I am all ears. Kevin and I are looking to provide you as much value as possible. So any questions or concerns or topics you would like covered, we'd love to hear about it. And next time you go up in the training room, check out our new setup. We are now prepared to be videoing and live streaming in the training room. So we have yet to practice on it, so that's why we're Zooming in here. In the future, if you want to go jump on any Zoom, it's just jessicafoxcoaching.com, and you're live and ready to rock and roll. So do I have any questions? And if you have any questions, unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself by clicking in the bottom left corner. No questions. Are you all committed? Can I get a couple of hands? Yes, I hear a voice. Who's
Yeah,
speaking?
Jessica, it's Peggy Elliott. How are
Hey,
you?
Peggy, how are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Hey, one thing that would help me, I know that they have those classes on Kelly, but it seems like it would be helpful for me if we almost did a boot camp for Kelly.
That's an awesome idea. Like maybe 10 different ways to use Kelly and actually do it together.
Well, just like Kelly 101, let's start.
Okay, the basics first.
Just to keep going and building, it would just be a boot camp. That would help me tremendously, because I've joined some of the Kelly classes and I end up frustrated because everyone's a little more farther advanced.
Got it. So maybe like a beginners and then a secondary class that would be advanced.
Yeah, where you just keep following the class, each session.
Sure.
Until you feel like you have a proficiency in it. So that's
we could either Zoom it if this is good enough, or we could make it classroom style, or we could do both. We resume while we're doing classroom. So I think we would do both, because some people want more hands-on, and some people just need to see it once or twice done. We also have the Elmo upstairs where we can actually put the phone underneath, and you can actually see the screen as the whole screen. So that would be helpful when doing this, so you can't, you really can't see. So I think what we'll do is we'll do it with the Elmo, but I love that suggestion.
Yeah, my preference would be classroom.
Okay, awesome. We can get that on the calendar, maybe even later in this month, and definitely you can start that as a trend. What other ideas do you guys have?
Bells on.
Got it. Love that idea. What other suggestions or ideas do you guys have, or other questions? Judy, is that you raising your hand? You have to just unmute yourself. I'm unmuting you, and I'm unmuting Paula, because I see you both have your hands up. Speak up if you're still on.
I lost you.
Okay, there you are, Judy. We can hear you. What's your question?
Okay. I actually didn't have one. I just think it's amazing how much you have to offer what's in that brain of yours. But I'm wondering if you can also do something similar as far as the team meeting goes, because I will not be able to make it. I'm sure others cannot. And if you can broadcast those as well, so more people can get a taste of your wisdom and everything that we have to look forward to, really, and learn.
Absolutely. And we're going to be recording them just like this too. So if you miss it,
perfect.
For whatever reason, you know, you can always go back to it, and I'll make sure that we have a YouTube playlist specific for Kelle or Command, or for, you know, just general information about industry happenings. And so we'll set that up on my my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I feel like more pressure to look good though. Boy, I have bad hair today after the rain.
No.
Being videoed. Love that idea. So yes, so team meetings, and again, we'll make sure we have really clear YouTube channels, so it's easy for you to go back, and we'll make sure that in the notations we document specifically what we're covering, so that, you know, if there's 4 things on Kelle, you're not having to watch 4 different things. Love that idea. What else do you guys have for me? So are you guys up for the challenge of calling everybody you know locally and offering them to give home values? Because here's the sense of urgency I'll leave you with, since it seems like no one else has a question. Guess who's calling them? Zillow. Zillow has unlicensed ISAs calling every neighborhood in Tampa right now, asking if they want an instant offer. That should alarm you. You need to get your arms around your people, because they think it's a better deal because they're being told that. When I go through the data on Thursday, I'm going to give you evidential proof that shows that it's not, and yet they have a lot of marketing dollars, don't they? Especially since we pay for that company to thrive with our ads. So we're paying Zillow to basically try to take us out right now. And so I'm going to challenge you to all get off Zillow. If you're spending even $1 on that right now, stop it, because we're helping them. And second of all, you need to get in relationship with your people again and communicate with them and clarify with them about the truth. Now, the cool thing is Purple Bricks officially got kicked out of America, so they're no longer here. So a lot of these companies will be like a flash in the pan, and yet my goal is to keep communicating like the latest that you should be marketing, and actually within our sketch house, develop my own message for you to send out, so that you don't have to create it for yourself. Because if you get back into relationship with your people and you start communicating value again and giving them things of value, and then educating them about the truth of the smoke and mirror marketing that's going on, you've got nothing to worry about, nothing at all. And yet many of you need to get back in relationship with your people. So I'm going to challenge you, because I want you all to thrive right now. And your chance to thrive has never been greater, because there's so many of these onesie twosie companies that sell really 1 or 2 homes a year at most that are all going to be going away, because they won't stay in the business. And that means more for you guys, and that's what you deserve. So take the challenge on, at least call a few people, get things going. And if you have any wins, please share them with me, because that keeps me rolling. And if you get any challenges, share those as well, so we can help you through it. Because this is not hard to use. It's actually quite easy, and yet it's your new tool that we need to get out of the toolbox, because if it's sitting in there not being used, it's not helping you at all. So again, reach out to Kevin directly, or Mondays, show up, come on in and just come in and work. And just by being with everyone, you're going to get better and better at using it. And that way, when you get stuck, you can raise your hand and someone can help you. And if you're more advanced, and that's not enough for you, then Wednesdays are more the day for you. And know that we're trying to compartmentalize, so that, like Peggy, like you had mentioned, you want the more basics. We'll make sure that we bring that in with Kelle as well. So just remember, any advice you have, any suggestions you have, we are all ears, and we're here for you. So make your day make the rest of your day a great day. And if you need anything, don't forget to reach out. Okay? See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.